na pag-upo, sir. Naglagay pa pala siya ng wire.
Parents, families, teachers, staff, friends, and the board of directors, I present to you the graduating class of the School for Entrepreneurship and Technology, the class of 2018. We all rise. Our very own Grace Engelman is going to sing the national anthem along with Israel Maldonado accompanying on the guitar. Thank you very much, Grace. I would now like to invite Mr. McClendon to the podium to deliver the invocation. Graduates, let's give a hand to our assistant principal, Mr. McClendon.
How many of you guys were here last year? Let's try this one more time. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Mo. Okay, how's everybody doing this morning? Does anyone here want to live a less stressful life? Yeah, me too. Let me begin this invocation with two quotes. One, have patience. All things are difficult before they become easy. And the second one, Paul, when you get frustrated, take a step back and ask for help. For some reason, over the last several months, I've thought about and reflected a great deal on patience. Don't know why that might be. I think a lot of people do know why that might be. Wonder why. But I digress. But boy, how true those two quotes are. I am biased and extremely partial to the second quote. So much so that I'm going to repeat it again. Paul, when you get frustrated, take a step back and ask for help. That quote was told to me by the great Audrey Patino, my 3-year-old granddaughter. Without question, patience is hard. We set goals, but we want to reach them now. Goals can't be comparable to the summit or the peak of a mountain. We can see the summit. It's right there in front of us. We feel like we can almost touch it. Yet, we seem to somehow forget that we must climb the mountain to get to the summit. It takes patience to handle and master the climb. Some of us will walk up the mountain, others will run, yet others might take a helicopter. But how we get there doesn't really matter. What matters is that we must still scale that mountain to get to the summit, our goals. Patience is a state of being that occurs between experience and reaction. Whether you're trying to be patient with yourself or others or life, it seems to always involve the experience of dealing with delays and obstacles. When it comes to having patience with yourself, you're ultimately talking about dealing with your own thoughts and emotions. You think, act, and experience. This would be simple. Unfortunately, it's not simple. Problems arise when you think and do doesn't seem to produce the right results. We don't immediately see the results and assume that they're not coming. And at times we give up before we have a chance to materialize. Patience is the ability not to be troubled by life's changes and delays. It's the ability to maintain calmness, in the midst of disappointment. Cultivating patience with others is an entirely different challenge. Other people are always acting, thinking, and feeling in ways that are potentially disagreeable with how you are thinking. The gift of living through patience, however, is that you become less reactionary. When others let you down or irritate you, and you know they will, be patient with them. Remember that they are growing just like you, and that life is a process. Whatever issues you may have had with another person are almost always temporary and will undoubtedly change once you let go of your own agenda. What disturbs you now about this person may change in the next moment. You may laugh with them or feel something other than some other positive emotion. Regardless of what other people do or think, you have a choice in how you allow it to affect you. Your mind may jump to negative notions and reactions. Your body may even register responses. But you are the source of it all. Ultimately, you can tap into your own calmness, your peace. When you want things to happen in your life, you can prolong the process by giving your attention and energy to frustration you feel about waiting. The waiting is not the problem. It's how you deal with it, how you see it. Practicing patience shifts your attention away from stress and frustration. Acting with patience is a way of telling life that you are in charge. You are in no hurry. There is no distress. Only freedom and confidence in your truth. Let us today recognize our differences in beliefs and values, but honoring our unity and thankfulness. I invite you to think about all that is yet to be while expressing thanks for the gift of intellect, the goals you have met, the support of family, friends, teachers, and mentors, and a society that encourages education. In a world where many cannot study, but let us be thankful for our achievement, diplomas, and honors that we celebrate today. In a world where many cannot envision a future, let us be thankful for our dreams, our hopes, and plans that have been nourished in the community of Set High. Class of 2018, as you go on from this grand day on different paths to different experiences and different destinies, May your thankfulness on this grand day grow in patience, peace for others, and the freedom to live, work, and serve throughout your days. I love you guys. Thank you. Now, Dr. DeCruz.
Thank you, Mr. McClendon. It's been an honor to work with you and to learn from your special form of wisdom. I would now like to offer my own words of wisdom to our graduates. Each year, the students at this school teach me something profound. I have grown tremendously during my years as an educator, often learning far more from the students than I could ever teach to them. Each year at graduation, I see it as my duty to share some of this wisdom that students have taught me. When I look back at the speeches that I've given over the years, I see a pattern. I have to warn you that this year's speech is a little dense because it relies on me summarizing the ideas in each of my previous 5 speeches, each of which was a full-length speech. I'll do my best to help you follow along. In my first speech, at our very first graduation in 2013, I explained to the students that their very presence gave meaning to my life because I had learned in my years of education that it is our web of interconnections as human beings that is the meaning of life. Our friends and families, all of us here, connect each of us to the future and to the past. How cool that the students taught me the meaning of life. Okay, so we're going to step back here. So 2013, relationships equals meaning of life. All right, 2014, students taught me that much good can come in the world if we would all just be what I called long-term selfish. The mistake that many of us make is that we are short-term selfish. Long-term selfish means that we look at the big picture and we think about what effect our actions will have far into the future. Long-term selfish means that you say please and thank you as freshmen so that I say nice things about you at your graduation 4 years later. And then you guys are still going to be nice to me because I'll then offer to write you a letter of recommendation for you 4 years from now. Long-term selfish means that I do everything I can to educate you and care for you so that when, say, I need help saving a school, you come in droves to demand action. Think of long-term selfishness. Think of long-term selfishness as karma. Do good, and one day you may be able to tap into the bank when you really need it. Okay, so 2014, long-term selfish. And what was 2013? Relationships is the meaning of life. All right, now we're on to 2015. I encourage the students to celebrate the perfect representations of themselves and to see themselves the way that we as educators see them. Too often we beat ourselves up and we're our own worst critics. We need constant reminding and encouragement from others that we can succeed, that we can do better, that that huge cliff that seems insurmountable is really just a small wall that, given a boost from a friend or the clever use of simple tools like rope and climbing shoes, can easily be climbed over. Those friends that help you over the wall, those are the same friends that give meaning to your life. Those friends are there for you because you've been long-term selfish. Those friends are there. Oh, I already said that. Those friends, mentors, acquaintances will all help you achieve that perfect representation of yourself and will call you out whenever you try to tear yourself down. Okay, so to recap, 2015, realize your perfect self. 2014, be long-term selfish. And 2013, relationships equals the meaning of life. In 2016, we explored identity. I talked about the many faces that I have, the many personalities that I have. Teenagers struggle with this idea because as they start to figure out who they are and separate themselves from their parents' identities, they often make the mistake of trying to find their one true identity. I argued that it is okay to be fake because we need to be different versions of ourselves depending on the situation. The me that is delivering this speech is very different from the me that acts like a goofball playing gorilla with my kids. The me that laughs in the halls with the students is different from the me that issues stern consequences behind closed doors in my office. It's okay to be fake because there is no true one version of yourself. 2016, we all have multiple identities. 2015, realize your perfect self. 2014, be long-term selfish. And 2013, Relationships is the meaning of life. And then finally, last year, for the class of 2017, we discussed failure and how important it is to experiment, to try new things, and to sometimes fail. It was the space science students' rocket failures and rocket successes that taught me this important lesson. Yeah, we hear it all the time. If you're not failing, you're not trying hard enough. It's one thing to hear these things, it's another to see it and to live it. To see the disappointment on the students' faces when something like a rocket fails to launch. To see an entire class go back to the drawing board to analyze and figure out what the problem is. And then to come back and find success in a perfectly true rocket that seems to soar forever. That's magic. That's what makes these sayings real. The laughter, the grins, the pride, that's what confirms for me that failure really is a good thing. Without that failure, that pride would never be there. So we have 2017, failure is okay. 2016, we all have multiple identities. 2015, realize your perfect self. 2014, be long-term selfish. And 2013, relationships is the meaning of life. So ultimately, what the students at this school have been teaching me is first, that fitting into society is a necessary part of life. In fact, it's the meaning of life. And then the best way to become a productive, useful part of that society is to be long-term selfish. Then become the perfect representation of yourself. Be the ideal you. Be comfortable in your own skin and recognize there are multiple yous. And finally, have enough confidence to be a failure, because failing is what helps each of us grow, and as a result, our whole society grow. This year, I learned about mood. So I'd like to